You are live.
Good morning, y'all. We're live on Facebook and YouTube is just coming up, so give us a minute here. We're having internet issues this morning. So if we come and go, bear with us.
So you may post comments. Let me check on YouTube. Yeah, Facebook is seriously hiccuping.
Yeah, for those of you on Facebook, we think that we may be getting better transmission on YouTube. We're checking it. So if necessary, switch over. If you would be kind enough to post in comments on both the URLs for each other,
Yes.
so that people have a choice depending on which seems to be getting the better transmission this morning.
Okay.
We'll begin in just a moment.
There we go. Says you're getting no sound.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Okay.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. That could be because I wasn't talking. So we're still trying to work this out.
YouTube seems to be cooperating.
Okay, YouTube seems to be working
Just
better.
checking with your mic here.
I had to let the switch go because it was too heavy.
Okay, let me make sure that.
So I'll start nattering on so we can test sound. The name of this text that we are attempting to transmit part 2 of the teachings of is Tsigsum Neddet. 3 words, heart striking. Generally known as the 3 words that strike the heart. The text is by Garab Dorje, who was North Indian. It's translated, I'm not sure whether it started out in Pali or Sanskrit or what particular language he was speaking. I'll have to check that unless someone knows offhand. But it was translated to Tibetan quite early on. And interestingly enough, Garab Dorje, ostensibly in the Nyingma lineage, in which this text is, received his teachings directly from the Sambhogakaya Vajrasattva. In the Bon lineage, he is among the Homo sapien lineage holders and received the ancient Zhangzhung transmission from a teacher. Reality is as you see it. Have you not noticed that? When there's been an occurrence, any occurrence that you've been involved in, such as a teaching, and you ask several people who were there what happened, you get several different stories. I remember at one point, I was giving a teaching in Mahamudra, and I gave everyone a little pebble the size of the end of their thumb to use for practicing shine with an object. About half the students believed that I said, When you are completed with this practice, when you finish this practice, take the little pebble back to where it came from, to the ocean. And the other half the people heard me say, when you finish this practice, the pebble is no longer important to you. Put it out anywhere you like. Throw it away into the garden. You're done. What did I really say? Even I don't remember. Reality is what you think it is. Past is how you think it happened. Present is your interpretation of your sensory input, the stimulation of your sense organs, which happens when you're awake and you think it's stuff going on outside of you, and which happens when you're asleep and you think it's stuff going on inside of you. Those are thoughts, like every thought you've ever thunk. No one is more real than another. They're all the same. This text is about seeing the nature of thought while thinking it. This is important. Otherwise, you will never transcend mind-made meditations and develop the ability to meditate while thinking, feeling, and perceiving. Because you will be thinking, feeling, and perceiving now, won't you? I mean, that's life. You go about, you have perceptions, or rather, your sense organs have sensations, and you interpret them, make up stories about them, according to your past experiences and your karmic tendencies and all of that. For instance, if you have karmic tendencies to be anxious and fearful, you make up scary stories. And if you have karmic tendencies to be confident and unafraid, you make up confident stories. And if you have karmic tendencies to be angry, you make up annoying stories. Now, don't you? And then you have feelings about those stories. And you cow yourself into whatever your normal patterns are that you're stuck in. And you circle round and round and round. You think anybody's getting this that I'm saying? I don't mean are they understanding it. I mean, is it getting transmitted?
Not on Facebook.
Not on
is
Facebook.
Acting dead in the water, and there's no sound on Facebook.
Okay, put up a URL on
I
Facebook
have.
so people can go to YouTube.
I have.
Y'all, we're going to go to YouTube. Apparently, Facebook, for reasons unclear in the moment, is not functioning for us. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. We're going to take a little break. Go over to YouTube, find the channel, and we'll start again. Okay? Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to leave an empty chair as a channel. I'm going to get up and go take a leak.
Yeah.
And we'll come back in 5 minutes once you've all gotten yourself from Facebook to YouTube. We're posting the URL on Facebook so you can follow it over to YouTube, because I don't want to miss transmitting this. This is important. This is how to meditate. Yesterday was about how. I'll come back to that.
Yeah, people are all like, yay, I don't know what to tell you. When you get up to pee, I can show you what I've been, I can't even fight with it now.
Yeah, but are they managing to get themselves
Yes,
to
but
YouTube?
see, this is what Facebook is doing. No
Yeah.
sound, no video, no nothing. I don't know what's going on there, but
Is it the device that's on Facebook? Which one is on Facebook, the camera or the iPad?
iPad is
iPad.
on Facebook.
And the phone
I'm
is
sorry.
on YouTube.
No, phone is Facebook, iPad is YouTube.
Okay, maybe the phone is acting up.
Possibly. So while you pee, I am going to switch.
Try switching phones, mine to yours.
I'm actually going to stick the YouTube.
Whatever you're going to do is fine.
Thank you.
You don't have to find words to explain the tag.
Okay, whatever you're doing it. Right. is it going to be? I've hooked your mic up to the iPad.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, we'll unplug it and just do it with the iPad.
Okay, and once we get the tech work out, I'm gonna need some bubbly water.
Yes, I can do that now. You're good on coffee?
I am. Ah, but there's nothing for me to talk to.
We're gonna have to roll with it, please. Let's see, I can try turning the iPad around?
That'll help.
Yes.
I need some kind of focal to do this.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see if that...
Bring the bottom towards me a little. No, I don't mean like that. I mean, you're cutting off the top of my head. Yeah, so it's slightly, put it back on the book. No, put it back on the book. Okay, it's cutting off the top of my head. It needs to be slightly twisted.
Like that?
That's better.
Okay.
And it needs to be this way. That's going to drive people crazy because it's at an angle.
Okay.
Here, grab that smaller book. Try that.
Better?
That's good.
Okay.
Now move the whole thing to the right slightly. Okay, I'm centered.
Good.
You cut off the top of my head again. Just lie it back. Good. Too far. Grab another small book. There's a pile of them. Look. You got it.
Now to find out if that microphone is cooperating.
Okay, so I'm mic'd, and let's check it. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. This is going to have to work. Best we can do for you this morning.
They can hear you.
They can hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, we're back online, it appears.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on technologically this morning. I think the stuff is upset out front and I'd better do another song today. When inexplicable technological issues arise, if it's in your plumbing, plumber's coming later this afternoon, it's probably Nagas, and if it's elsewhere, it's probably land spirits. So I'll run a song and make some nice offerings this afternoon. And hopefully tomorrow, we will have this all nicely working. Now, where was I? This text is by Garab Dorje, It is also, it's called Siksumnedeb. 3 words that strike the heart. It is the base Dzogchen text. So, this is your basics. This is how you practice trekcha, how you find tawa, which is sometimes translated as the view, but I don't like that translation. I think view implies something you look out the window at. Your view, something, there's a you and you're having a view, you're looking out at a view. And tawa isn't like that. Yar tawa. It's you. It's the totality of yourself. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. Better. And for some reason, none of the tripods worked this morning. So we have this piled on a text on dream yoga, a Chinese medical textbook, and a couple of other texts that were sitting about because I'd been reading them. No sci-fi. No tripod.
Kind of where we started, actually.
This is how we first did some of the first transmissions piled on books using a cell phone or an iPad. So we're back to basics. And we're now going out on YouTube, but Facebook is capped.
Yeah.
Which
Facebook
is fine
just
with
cat.
me. I'm not sure I like their politics. I'm not sure I understand their politics, so I haven't got an opinion on that. But they seem to be having some kind of political issue that at some point, at my convenience, I will actually take a look at and come to understand and make a decision on. Let's see. No, I couldn't read it.
Okay, sounds like the mic on the iPad, so we're doing without the mic, we're going full tilt.
And do I take my mic off?
You do, because it's not gonna do anything today.
Okay.
I do not know why.
Let's try again. Volume is okay from Jerry.
Yes.
Okay, this may now be working. We'll see. Chuku kundu zongpo gompo yi dorji sempa Garab Dorje dang shere singa bardu shin labdi de dang mabzon tata tusum chi Dzogchen jupe lama la solwa de Again pema june la solwa de Dorje chang chitelo naru dang marpa mila gompo tsatsapa na pupadang palden drupa so kargulama namla solwa de o chen lama namla solwa de Dru chen lama namla solwa Shak chen lama namla solwa de Yong drang gang nyendu lama namla solwa de Palkondu Jongdang Yerme Pa Gon Garab Dorje Jin Trag Pa Jetidang Nisume Pa Ye Pa Lamanam Che Tenter Chong. Tawa, not view, tawa. Tawa is the root of this practice. Tawa is your own true nature. Semni, real mind, big mind. Not the things that arise in your mind, not separate from the things that arise in your mind. What arises in your mind? Thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. Yes? You have a sensory sensation, visual, audio. You interpret it as an object. I have a tactile sensation and a visual sensation. I interpret it as a glass of soda water. Could be wrong. It could be a vodka tonic. She could have spiked my soda water and I wouldn't have known. I could have misinterpreted it as to what it was very, very easily. So I have an interpretation. This is a perception, a combination of sensation and interpretation into the naming of the object. Once I have that, I tell myself a story about it. I like soda water. I'm thirsty. It's hot today. That's my story. Once I have a story, I then have a feeling. Want soda water. So I have this whole bilbla of perception, thought, story, feeling, bilbla. It means tanglement, entanglement, inseparable, like the yarn after the kittens have been into it, bilbla. It's a wonderful word, you need it. Always collect more words in assorted languages. You can then talk about more stuff more easily. So the bilbla of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, we call that phenomena. We call it inner phenomena, thoughts and feelings, and outer phenomena, stuff, thingies. So all of that is happening in your mind. And all of that is what you obsessively, compulsively pay attention to. All morning until this moment, you have been paying attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your perceptions, your stuff. Have you not? What you wanted, what you didn't want, you can do this next. Oh, technological, oh this, oh that, switch channels, yeah. Stuff, phenomena. Follow it home. Where? And use thoughts here because they're the easiest ones to get at. Where you be thinking? Where are the thoughts you are thinking occurring right now? In this very moment, where that be happening? It's happening where it always has been. In your mind, the thinker of thoughts. We define mind as the thinker of thoughts, the feeler of feelings, the perceiver of the perceptions. So what we need to do is shift our focus of attention, what we pay attention to, from phenomena to the infinite and vast ground of mind itself, where the phenomena arises. To do that, you simply follow a thought home. Instead of paying attention, now yesterday I gave you the teachings on the body, how to align your channels. If you missed it, you're going to need to review that later this afternoon. It'll still be up there. It's up on YouTube. Align your channels. It just makes it easier. Once you're good at it, you can do it whether your channels are in alignment or you're pretzeling. But until you're really skilled at this, do it the easy way. Align your channels, put the training wheels on. With your channels in alignment, follow a thought home. Some people find this easier to do with pictures. So visualize an object, a simple object, a common object. How about bread box? Oh, you don't have those anymore, do you? My age is showing. How about your car? Can you see your car in your mind's eye? If you don't have a car, use your bicycle, your skateboard, your mode of transportation. Worst comes to worst, your shoes. But visualize whatever it is in your mind's eye. See the picture? Where's the picture? It's not in front of you or behind you. It's not to the left or the right. It's not above or below, and it's not inside or outside. Put down all those rumors you've heard about where it might be, like neurons and liver and heart, depending on your cultural matrix. And actually look and see. Not with your eyes, with your mind. Look and see where the image you visualized is occurring. This is mind looking. Any thought, an imagined bird song, an imagined picture, the imagined tactile sense of satin. All of this seen in the mind and the imagination. The imagination is in the mind. Where do you perceive this? When you experience, perceive, feel a spacious vastness, your own mind, with the attention of your mind focused on your own mind, infinite and open, indescribable awareness. Tawa Longchen Rabchanyan. Infinite vast expanse, indescribable, undefinable, empty of characteristics, neither yellow nor blue, round or square. Empty of all the thises and that's which are made of thought, even center and edge. This is the great mother ocean of Dharmakaya. This is home, your own mind. This is what what you have been homesick for all your life, because you haven't known how to look there. You know that old poem, I believe it's originally in Spanish, so go ahead and give it in Spanish. I am so far from the sky where I was born. Sometimes I want to cry, sometimes I want to laugh with longing. You're not far. It's right here, right now. Tawa, come home to Mama. Great Mother Ocean Dharmakaya, the source of all phenomena, where all phenomena, thoughts, feelings, and perceptions arise, and where they subside like waves in the ocean, entirely made of water, never leaving the ocean. Tawa. If you are finding it difficult to follow your thoughts home and to perceive Tawa, there is a Rushen that will help you. It's called the Inner Mind Rushen. I have taught it several times and will teach it to you again, but we don't have time for it in this text to do that entire teaching. Your mind sees your own mind, and you are Dharmakaya, nature of mind, Tawa, no thingness. While resting comfortably and relaxedly in Tawa, pop it. Break Tawa, because the Tawa you are starting with is a perception of infinite open awareness of mind itself. It is a feeling of vastness. It is the subtle idea of Rigpa. Well, those are phenomena, not the source of phenomena, the home of phenomena. So settle into Tawa and then strike it and pop it. Pet! And right there where it was for an instant, hete wa, no thing. Utterly open. Santale, completely transparent. Completely permeable. This is Tawa. The real Tawa is not the Tawa you think it is. It's right behind that. Your thoughts, because you are so accustomed to paying attention to what you're thinking, get in the way of your perception of the where of it. So first you go as far as you can into Tawa, and then you break it. Again, I recommend the Inner Mind Rushen for those for whom my words are not yet making sense. Next, to teach in detail the practice of Gam. Gam is the word for meditation. You've heard Gampa, meditation hall. Gam tree, meditation chair or seat. Gam tar, meditation sash. Gam is the word meditation. It's the only one of the 3 words of Garab Dorje that actually translates, sorta. as meditation, but not any meditation, not mindfulness meditation, not shine, not trance states, not blissed out states. Meditation as tawa, in tawa. That's Gom. Gom itself is adamantine, stable, and unbreakable. The real Gom, also known as Trekcha, cutting through, because it cuts through all the crap, doesn't come and go until such time as you have stabilized your Gom. Your Gom is faux, like fake fur, like, what do they call it, man-made leather? Not the real thing. Like so many of those Chanel and other things that you find on eBay really cheap. Faux. That's okay. It's somewhere to start. You're going to refine it over time with something called practice. Remember learning to drive or to ride a bicycle if that's how you get about? Remember how hard it was when you started? I remember learning to drive and thinking, I'll never be able to do what I've seen people do, which is eat a sandwich, drink a milkshake, drive a road, and hold a conversation all at the same time. This takes every bit of my concentration to pull it off. Now, it's easy. Of course I can eat while driving and talk to you. Takes a while. Took practice. So that's all you gotta do to refine your meditation from a mind-made meditation to an inherently stable and natural state. You practice. If you don't practice, you ain't gonna get there. If you remain at all times and on all occasions in this essence of river-flowing samadhi, the flow of a river is not broken into pieces. It's right there. Always. Always changing what drifts by. Always the same river. Rest in a state of neither accepting nor rejecting. Don't suppress thinking. Don't reject it. Don't entertain it either and follow it about into wonderful, fascinating daydreams and stories. Leave it alone. It's not made of anything. It can't hurt you unless you follow it. Neither concentrating nor distracted. That is the true nature of Chuku. And if your mind is diffused, if your thoughts are running rampant, that's simply the procession of the primordial wisdom itself. Whether diffused or remaining. Tine chalni changrung prochak samche tamche do. Anger or desire, whatever happens, it's happening in your mind. It's not made of anything other than mind. Just as waves are made of the ocean. Waves can't leave the ocean. They come up and they go down, but they're always ocean. So the great Mother Ocean of Dharmakaya, no thing. All of your thoughts and feelings have never been anything other than that. And nothing can't hurt you, can't bother you, or even distract you, because it's no thing. You can't even sit on it. Whatever arises from the manifesting faculty of mind's thoughts, whatever arises, stories, feelings, intensity, as big as they are, whatever's going on, anger, desire, the 5 poisons, the origination of suffering, happiness and sorrow, all of this without exception. If you recognize the nature of these thoughts while thinking them, the nature of these feelings while feeling them, the nature of the perceptions about which you're having the thoughts and feelings while perceiving them, not after. Don't lay a trip on them after by having a perception and a feeling of an anger and then thinking my anger isn't real. That don't work. Gotta be while. Gotta see them for what they are. Dharmakaya. The playfulness of the Dharmakaya. The shimmer of its clear light nature. Okay, I'll go louder. If you recognize all these thoughts, feelings, and perceptions as the quintessence of the chuni, of the dharmata, then they themselves are of the nature of Dharmakaya itself. Just this. No difference. So distraction doesn't bother meditation, and confusion arises as wisdom. This is gone. So what do you practice? You practice at all times and on all occasions, recognizing the Dharmakaya nature in and as what arises. Whatever you're thinking right now, whatever you're feeling right now, whatever you're perceiving right now, in this moment, tawa never leaves tawa. It arises in tawa and dissolves in tawa. Yar tawa. See it while it happens. All the time. Not just on the cushion. Now, in the beginning, it's a lot easier to see it with the proper position, silencing the little inner voice, or at least disconnecting the connection between the thoughts, putting it in neutral so that they don't hook into each other and make up a whole edifice of story. So you just disconnect them, you put your mind in neutral. So yeah, the thoughts are happening, you can't shut it up. Don't let them happen. You don't need to have Shine first. It's a great tool if you've got it, if you can shut up the little talker of the speech chakra. That's wonderful. But if you can't, you can do it anyway. Just disconnect them. Pull the plug. So go ahead and think. Don't follow the thoughts. Don't code them. Don't entertain what they say. You don't even have to pay a lot of attention to what they're saying. Mostly it's stupid shit. You want to know how stupid? Once we're done with this teaching, go off privately into a room by yourself and say everything you think out loud for 5 minutes. You'll see how stupid most of it is. It's not worth paying attention to. It's like watching commercials on TV. So the trick here is to do it at all times, on all occasions. Remember, it's not a doing, it's a relaxation. So as you go about in daily life, and you fold the laundry, and you weed the garden, or mow the lawn, take out the garbage, you know, those daily activities of life, cook some food, eat some food, get dressed, get undressed, take a shower, all that stuff that you do, take a whiz, whatever, while you do it, we'll just check and see if your mind's still there. Have you lost it, or is it there? Big mind, semni, dharmakaya nature of mind, tawa. Quick glance. Don't try to grab it. It doesn't have a handle. There's nothing there to grab. You can't grab it. Just check. A lot. That's practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it. Until at some point, it turns over. You can't make it turn over. All you can do is faithfully practice until it lets go. And you notice for yourself that all phenomena arises in mind. There is no phenomena that does not arise in mind. All your perceptions, all your feelings, all your stories and thoughts and belief systems, everything everybody ever told you, the books you've read, all that stuff, it's just playing in mind. Look at it go. It's not made of anything. It's not happening in a where there. It's completely insubstantial. You can't even sit on it. So how can it bother you? So you have a bad day. You feel confused, you feel ignorant, you hate yourself, you feel like you can't meditate. That's phenomena. Follow it home. Check and see. Even if you are not able to clearly maintain an experience of tawa, doesn't mean it's gone. Check up on it until the matter becomes obvious. Dacheosel ma potra. Unite the previously known sun luminescence with its mother. Allow mother and sun ground of mind to unite. Mother luminosity of ground. This is the Dharmakaya nature of all phenomena, which has always been present, always will be present, doesn't come and go. It's what it is. Sun luminosity of path is tawa as taught by the teacher. You practice the sun luminosity of path until it becomes obvious to you that it is the same thing as the mother luminosity of ground. And this is the phrase in the text. Let mother and sun luminosities unite. For beginners, when you're starting out, even if you relax into tawa and stop thinking, because actually if you rest in tawa long enough, the thinking just sort of fades away. You get into these amazing mind-made meditations, bliss states, clarity and wisdom. No thought states where time doesn't even seem to pass and then somebody's calling you for supper 2 hours later and you just sat down. Yeah, it happens. These are called nyams, meditative experiences. Me de saltro yang cha. Again and again, breaking, destroying all of these mind-made meditative states. They're faux, fake. We call them nyam. Nyam means experience, meditative experience. Your experience of, say, falling off your bicycle is not a nyam, it's an experience. But these states you get into, duknyam is another one, where it's this really chewy grouch, I know, delightful. Yeah, that's a nyam too. You'll be seeing it. See, these things happen. They're signposts. Don't grab them. Don't get all proud of them and try to maintain them because you finally got something. Remember the nature of impermanence? If you get it, it's going to get away. If you build it, it's going to come apart. Well, if you get a meditation, you're going to lose the meditation. Probably at the worst possible moment when you really need it. So don't count on those. Pop them. Pet. It'll pop anything. A word of advice. This is a private practice. The use of the magic word pet, the seed syllable. So don't be doing it in group practice. You all sound like microwave popcorn. And don't be doing it out and about on the streets here and there. You are less likely to get into these states that have to be popped while moving around. So, if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him quickly. You know that old Zen koan? This. If you find yourself meditating, achieving meditation, acquiring a realization, pop it. It's a fake. Right behind it is the real one. A yogi improves his practice by breaking it again and again, just as A mountain torrent becomes clearer and sweeter as it bounces from rock to rock. One of my problems with this text is how tiny it is. Hence the reading glasses. Suddenly exclaim the letters of skillful means and wisdom. Tapcheigi lopar bet. Namjit se tap tade me. Until there is no difference between meditation and post-meditation. No difference between on the cushion and off the cushion. This is the stabilization of trekcha. And you can't do it. It happens as a result of practice. You can't make it happen. Look, you want enlightenment, right? What blocks you from enlightenment? Your great hope of enlightenment is a hope. Hope and fear. You fear samsara. You lust after nirvana. What keeps you stuck on the wheel as a sentient being, chasing your hopes and running from your fears? You can't chase enlightenment and catch it. Won't work. Yes, you practice. You practice with the understanding that at some point, the happy accident of mother and son luminosity uniting will occur of its own accord because enough gewa has accumulated around you, in your vicinity. Trekcha, Gom, is the fastest, most intense way of creating gewa there is. Yes, you can perform generosity of body, of speech, of mind. And if you can't find tawa, do that. Perform the 6 paramitas for the sake of others. Generosity, morality, patience. All of them. But the highest and the most effective and fastest method of creating gewa is gom. Gewa is good karma. Gewa is the actions that create beneficial effects towards your goals. For as long as you're in samsara, it is the opposite of digpa, which are those actions which create negative stresses in your life and others. So as much as possible, tend towards gewa. You can recognize the creation of gewa because it is relaxing to yourself and your relations. You can recognize digpa because it is scrunching and tightening to yourself and your relations. For example, when you flip off the driver in another car, he experiences tension. You have given out tension. Later on, this will make you very tense. And you already were tending toward tension, or you wouldn't have popped off at him. So that would be digpa. When somebody cuts you off in traffic and you think, oh dear, I hope he gets there okay, wherever he's going, that's gewa. You are wishing him well. You are recognizing that he's having a problem. Whatever that problem may be, no need to speculate on what it is. Maybe his wife's having a baby, who knows? Maybe he just didn't see you because he was distracted because he had a fight with his boss. You don't know what's going on for him. So you recognize that he's having a difficulty and you wish him well. That makes Gewa. No, do not use pet at speed repetitively. First, get yourself as close to Tawa as you can. Perceive Tawa, feel it. There will be a subtle thought formation saying this is Tawa also. That just happens. Get there as close as you can, as relaxed as you can make it. Then pop it while looking right there. Pet. Etewa, no thing at all. And as your formation re-solidifies, again, put forth the effort in practice to get as close as you personally can. Break it again. Especially if you get something really good, like bliss, wisdom, and clarity. This is it. You're being fooled by a fake. Pop it. If it comes and goes, it is a mind-made meditation. The real Tawa is always present. So don't be all so happy because you're getting a meditative experience, a signpost. They're good. Yawns are good because it means you're going in the right direction. But when you're driving to New York and you see a sign that says New York 50 miles ahead, left lane, you don't go pull over and park at the sign. It simply reassures you you're on the right track. So in that way, yams are good. But you don't want to be stuck in traffic at the sign. You want to go past the sign on the road, the left lane that it said to go on, so that you can actually get to New York, which is where you're going. Same for Tawa. Pa, method. Ta rata tra, wisdom. Pet. Actually, it's pa hata ha ta rata tra pet. The T is at the end because it ends really fast. But you don't say the T. Golden letters is a bit wordy, not my favorite translation. Although the glossary is really nice for word meaning. And I actually have a copy of it. I keep it for the glossary. Some of these digressions are questions coming up online that you guys see that flash on my screen, and I will occasionally make a comment. The best translation of this that I've ever seen is in something called Crystal Cave. Let me just see if I've got it over here. Or if I lent it to somebody. I don't see Crystal Cave. It's an old book. printed a long time ago. There is a decent translation of the root text at Lotsawa House. The commentary here we're working with is by Patrul Rinpoche. There's another nice one of this, not by John Reynolds. John Reynolds is a scholar. Golden Letters is like, it's a little text, this. Golden Letters is like this. If 6 words would do it, he'll use them. Very fine scholar. But I'm an old cave yogi. I can't fight my way through that many words. I like a more simple translation. I believe Keith Dowman has one out. You might try that. It's a little bit more condensed.
Lena?
Yes.
Martin has a PDF available of Crystal Cave.
Have him send it to me of the text Crystal Cave or of Tsiksunnadeb from the book Crystal Cave.
I think it's from the book because it's 10 megabytes worth of.
Check, because there's also a text named Crystal Cave.
Well, here's the first page. I think it's the entire text.
By Eric Pemakunzang, I think so. That might be it. Tell you what, Martin, send me that. Let me take a look at it. And I will send it out tomorrow at the end of the teaching if it seems appropriate. Okay? I don't want to send this to you before the end of the teaching. I don't want you all reading along. It's distracting to you. And all translations misinterpret some of the Tibetan words. You can't not. Like Gewa and Digpa. What the hell are you going to call those in English? Sin and virtue? It's got nothing to do with a value judgment. It's karma. Karma isn't fair. And which bits of you are naked has nothing to do with that in there. That's cultural. It's not sin and virtue. It's Gewa and Digpa. Some of the words that translate worst, like Tawa, which is not view, it's not out there, it's not in there, it's in another direction. Please just learn 1 or 2 Tibetan words and add it to your English or Spanish vocabulary. This will make a lot more sense if you do it that way, rather than to try to squish it into your native language where it doesn't fit. Again and again, destroy any such thing as a meditation you have acquired or created, until there is no difference between meditation and meditation break. Because of this, there are not different meditations for the period of being on the cushion and the period of daily activities. Meditation and withdrawal from meditation are indistinguishable. Sitting down and getting up don't make no difference. Don't make no never mind. Charme nangdu yundu ne, to rest in the adamantine seat of non-meditation at all times. This is the river-flowing samadhi. The great meditation in which there is nothing to meditate on. Primordial wisdom. Not so much as a hair to meditate on, nor a split second in which to waver. no meditation experience, and no departure from meditative absorption. No thing. Just this. What, you think I'm going to give you something that makes your eyes bug out and your mouth drop open? Oh, wow! Nuh-uh. It's utterly ordinary and incredibly profound at the same time. Just this. For those who are capable of becoming vessels for the real significance of the unique path of the great perfection, Dzogchen itself, that type of person is capable of being liberated upon hearing this doctrine. They're called Chikchawa. Rinpoche and I saw one once. Gave these teachings. He did. I translated. Came up afterwards. Never had a Dharma teaching before. Got it. All the way. Never saw her again and never needed to. Afterwards, we're sort of looking at each other going, Chikchawa, Kuncha, we thought they were mythical like unicorns and didn't happen anymore. And this was in Marin. You want that story? She'd had a dream where an unusual looking man in fancy clothing came and touched her heart, and she became enlightened. She'd been doing mindfulness meditation or some simple meditation, Shine, for like 40 years. From when she was a child. I believe she was Asian of some sort, Filipino mix maybe, American. Ostensibly Buddhist, but not, like a lot of Americans are maybe ostensibly Christian or Jewish, but they don't really do anything with it. So she had this dream, and afterwards she really couldn't remember being enlightened, but really remembered what the guy looked like. Later she was passing a bookstore and saw a book on display with a picture of the guy from the dream. So she goes into the bookstore and says, "Who's that in that picture?" Says, "Guru Rinpoche." She says, "Oh, okay, thank you." Now she has a name. And so about a week or two later, she's at the grocery store and she sees a flyer that Wangdor Rinpoche will be giving a teaching nearby. She thinks to herself, Guru Rinpoche, Wangdor Rinpoche, maybe they're related and he can tell me how to find the guy from my dream. I'll go to the teaching. She got it. Chikchawa. They're rare. I've only seen one in my whole life. I certainly was not one of those. God. Years of practice. Years and years and years, but then I'm particularly slow and stupid on these things. And lazy. So I never practiced as well as I should have. So it took a really long time. I even gave up. Figured, okay, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to really get past these mind-made meditations. I'm going to stay stuck. But I'll translate as best I can. Maybe somebody else will get it. It worked. I stopped trying. But you gotta try really hard before you stop trying. If you stop trying too soon, nothing happens. If you stop trying too late, you miss it, nothing happens. And if you stop trying at exactly the right moment, no thing happens. If Rinpoche gave you a text in a dream, it was this one. It was his favorite. Phenomena and perception. Perception, thoughts, feelings, inner and outer phenomena, is ultimately liberated at the source. It never experienced confusion. It's you crunching down on it that makes it seem confusing. You don't have to do that. But if I tell you just stop scrunching down on all your thoughts and feelings and perceptions in your life, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. So here's how you lead yourself to stop scrunching down on it. Until the recognition of the inherent stability, it is important to meditate by giving up entertainments. If you can, leave your home and family. Go off into the forest. Put your entire heart and soul into nothing but this. But that's not feasible for many of us. And if you try it under the wrong circumstances, it actually makes things worse and you go mad. Been there, done that. You see, if you are at right exactly the time in your life for doing that, do it. But if not, you will have to merge your daily practice, your returning again and again to Tawa, with everyday life. And that works too. However, it will be easier if you simplify your life. Put down the device of social media for a while. You don't have to tweet all the time, or whichever one you're doing, and you don't have to follow all those people. Just put it down for a while. It's over-complexing your life. Cover up the TV. Hang a pretty shawl over it. Watching a lot of TV is complicating your life. Right now, during COVID-19 and lockdown, you have already been given an opportunity to simplify. Now throw out all the toys that you've been meaning to play with someday, but you know you're never going to get around to. So you can stop dusting them. Give up on keeping your house as clean as a commercial. Relax. You're in lockdown. Nobody cares what you look like. Nobody cares what your house looks like. Nobody's going to see it. Leave it alone. Simplify. You don't need all those entertainments. But don't go cold turkey on everything suddenly. Just turn it down a bit. You'll all tense up if you go cold turkey suddenly on everything. Just take it down a few levels. Give up a few entertainments. At the time of true meditation, even though there's no difference in the practice of meditation and post-meditation periods, if the meditation has not been broken often enough, practiced long enough to perfect it, to get past all the mind-made meditations, then this primordial vision of Yishe, primordial wisdom, from the meditation period won't mix with the post-meditative period. So even although you try to take your daily activities in the path, what you're actually trying to do is maintain a subtle mind-made meditation while you're going about and doing stuff, and that never works. Forget, you lose track. You're trying to hold the subtle thought of tawa, the feeling of it or the perception of it. And you can't hold that because monkey mind is going to go somewhere else. It's a focus. You want to open. So on your cushion, break it. Off your cushion, glance and don't grab. Don't try to maintain it. We talk about stabilizing trekja, and everybody tries to maintain some kind of subtle meditation that they've gotten to or created. And you can't. So they get all frustrated. I can't stabilize my trekja. Because that's not how you do it. On your cushion, destroy your meditation again and again when you seem to have gotten one. This is not a continuous pet, 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 pet. Wait until you get something to break. Look right at it and pop it. If you're not looking right at a mind-made approximation, when you pop it, all you're going to do is startle your fleas. You won't be looking properly. Looking is a euphemism. It's an analogy, not doing anything with your eyes except unfocusing your eyeballs. But you've got to have your attention as wide open as you can get it in tawa, as tawa. When you pop it, to actually experience hetewa. Off the cushion, check on tawa again and again. The basic recommendations, this isn't in the text. The basic recommendations are to make a long session in the morning about 5 to 7% longer than is easy. So that could be 10, 20 minutes, 2 hours. It depends on what's easy for you to sit there on your cushion with your channels in alignment. Throughout the day, you make mini sessions, 6 to 8 of them, lasting approximately 1 minute, where you sit down somewhere, align your channels, and relax into tawa. Just for a minute, and then you get up and go on about your business. But continuously, again and again, as often as you can remember to do it. Take a quick glance and see if tawa is still there or if it's gone somewhere. Quick check. Don't grab, don't try to hold on, don't try to stabilize that. It's a glancing. In the beginning, it's going to feel like a glancing. In the middle, it's going to feel like a hold your hand up in front of your face between yourself and the computer. Look at your fingerprints. Look at the computer. Look at your fingerprints. look at the computer. If you do this in the way I'm explaining it, you're just a change of depth perception, checking on tawa. You may probably need to unfocus your eyes for a moment for that. Well, you can do it in the middle of a conversation. Nobody's going to really catch if your eyes vague out for an instant. Like that. If you're old, you can easily do it. They'll figure you're trying to remember what word you were about to say. So you do that as often as you can remember. The morning session deepens, refines your tawa in practice. That's really important. The little 1-minute sessions, and if you're in a busy office, something, you don't have a private office, things are, you've got hot and cold, or you've got hot and cold running kids and you're working from home, use the bathroom. There's something to sit on there. Guys, use the stall. You can find a place to sit 6 to 8 times during your day. Maitreya position on the loo works fine. It's only for a minute. It's one of the few places that nobody's going to bother you unless you've got a 2-year-old. 2-year-olds have no problem bothering you in there. So if you follow this pattern of practice, it works. Very simple. Not in the texts. This was given by Wangdo Rinpoche verbally. See, that's why you need more than just the text. You need the teachings. It's not all in there. How to get it to work is not all in there. Even if your practice has reached the level that it seems possible that you are able to rest in a state of meditation, dividing the practice into periods while you're on the cushion, until there is no difference between on and off the cushion, until you can mix the practice with daily life. You're not there yet. Keep practicing. You see, you're probably not going to die on the cushion. You're going to die in a hospital or on the freeway, somewhere with all sorts of hot and cold running nurses or traffic. Somebody's going to shoot you. You're out and about. Get hit over the head. Most people don't get the wonderful opportunity to die on the meditation cushion. So no guarantees that you're going to get that opportunity. You better be able to do this out and about, because you're going to really need this when push comes to shove and you transition into the big adventure, the bardo. You know, there's a lot of methods of maintaining meditation using antidotes. They don't really work with this. Tu dang nawa tam chi du. In session and in session break. Same difference. At all times and on all occasions. Chuku chikpo yorang chang. Recognize only the nature of Dharmakaya as everything. Once there is not a subtle duality between you and Tawa, where on some subtle level there's a you Somebody who has a name, Lena, and a personality. Looking at Tawa, that separation, it can't pervade. It won't maintain itself. It won't be recognized in its inherent stability until you truly identify with that, rather than all this crap. Trekcha, cutting through. Psst. Cuts through all the crap you surround yourself with. It is Gom. It is the technical name for Gom. Meditation of the Dzogchen type. There are other types. This kind of meditation, Trekcha, Gom, which is to recognize the true nature of the Chuni itself. Semni, Chuni, real Dharma, real mind. The union of Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya. Yar that. Dharmakaya, infinite, open, vast expanse beyond knowing and knower, no thing, shunyata, emptiness. But not a big dead old nothing, not dark and black and void. Nuh-uh. Look, it can think. It's alive. The vitality of clear light is the nature of that infinite, vast emptiness. And that clear light itself shimmers and sparkles with the creativity of phenomena. Dharmata. Dharmakaya, infinite, open. Sambhogakaya, awake awareness. Nirmanakaya, creatively playful and dancing as phenomena. So don't be standing as a Nirmanakaya manifestation trying to see the emptiness of Dharmakaya. You're the Sambhogakaya. Get in the middle. You're the vitality of awareness. You're aware, you're alive, right? You got feelings, you touch, you feel, you see, you think, you perceive. That ability to do so, the awareness, the seer is the Sambhogakaya nature of the Dharmakaya, the clear light nature of the infinite open awareness. The awareness itself, you're that. And from that perspective, as the awareness, your own nature of infinite openness and vast creativity is obvious. Right here, right now. Just as it is. To decide on one single point is the second vital point. Become sure that this is the only way to go for you, or pick something else. For me, and for my teacher, this is the sweetest. De la jinme kotachi tachi togdu chewa tine nipo. Become convinced that this is the way to go and decide to do it. Because if you don't decide to do it, you've got the instructions now on how to do Dzogchen, how to meditate Dzogchen. Now it's just a matter of you making the decision to meditate Dzogchen or not to meditate Dzogchen. If you decide to meditate it, it will work. If you decide not to, it won't work for you. Make that decision. It's the second vital point. Do we have questions?
We do. A number of them had to do with the effects of using pei. So the first question was, after resting, nothing seems to change after I let out a pei. Is this fine?
You're not doing it hard enough. You're not hitting it, or you're not looking right there. There is, or you are not really and intensely resting in tawa. If nothing is happening when you let out a pei, wait a while. Keep focusing. Keep aiming your intention of awareness, keep relaxing and trying to get your awareness open wider past phenomena. Until you obtain a perception of tawa. That's when you pop it. Let's try the next one. Let's stick with pei a bit.
Stick with pei a bit. Wait, there was somebody, here we go. I'm experiencing a significant amount of shaking when trying to connect with tawa, and after sounding pei, it sometimes intensifies and sometimes subsides.
You've got gex in your channels. It's like telling somebody they've got lice.
And then they should.
Are you familiar with the 9 breaths? It's a nice way to clear basic gex out of your channels. If you're familiar with it, it's an excellent basic Tsalung practice. If you're not, I'll teach you something simpler that we have time for here. It's called the yawn. You're going to breathe in through your nose, both nostrils. While you are breathing in through both nostrils, you're going to stretch your body and your energy body, those energy channels. Open them up, stretch them out. And I want you to stretch them out as far as you can, past the orbit of the asteroids, spherically, in all directions. Stretch past the edge of the galaxy, past the local group. And exhale. It actually goes faster than it says, so it's like this. on the in-breath, at the top of the in-breath, do not close your glottis. You don't go like this. If you're going to hold the air in for a moment before you let it out, you do it with your diaphragm and rib muscles. You don't close this. It's important. There are other practices in which you do. In this practice, you don't. On the out breath, you just relax. They'll come back into place, but a little bit looser than you started with. So give that a try. There are a couple of possibilities. If you are able, drink a homemade or dark chewy beer. Guinness is good. Prior to your session, and see if the shaking still happens. If you do not drink, try fried macaroni and cheese. If either of these works, or if you're non-vegetarian, if you're not a vegetarian, bacon. Lots of bacon. If any of these works and you don't shake, then you know that you have a tendency to lung, and you need to really work on relaxing.
Is pay also used when one is entangled in thoughts?
On your meditation cushion, if the thoughts have a particular tone, and if that entanglement only happens when you meditate, then pay can be useful. If it's just ordinary getting caught up in some kind of thought about the ex-wife that's a repeater that keeps running, nah. I mean, you can try it. It might pop you out of it for a minute, but if it's one of your repeaters, it's going to be back. Better to follow it home and find the source, find what it's really made of. Then it won't bother you. Next question.
How do I follow a thought home? By looking at the thought and follow it until it disappears? Or by looking at the place where the thought is happening?
Both at the same time. What you want to do, you can look at the thought and follow it till it disappears. That should lead you to the place where it's happening, because it disappears in the same place it arose. Thoughts themselves, little bitty thoughts, tiny little noms, as in nom-talk, discursive thoughts, the little particle thoughts that get stuck together in discursiveness. None of them have either substance or duration. But don't take my word for that. Go look. Next.
If you see tiny shiny lights like fireflies, are those nyams?
No, that's either dehydration or you stood up too fast. Usually. Are you drinking enough water? Is it hot where you are? A lot of the visual side effects have to do with blood pressure. You might want to check.
How do we know we've got it?
The question becomes irrelevant. That's the "ma, are we there yet" question.
Mm-hmm, it is.
If you think you are enlightened, you're having an oops. If you think you are unenlightened, you're having the same oops. The oops is taking thoughts seriously. They're just thoughts. I'm perfect. I'm absolutely full of shit. Those are thoughts. They have neither substance nor duration. You don't have to entertain them. Yes, Sarah. I just answered something that popped on the screen.
Oh, okay. Can I sit on the floor with my legs stretched out rather than sitting with my legs in lotus?
No, it'll throw your back in the wrong direction.
How long and how often should a beginner sit in meditation posture while having a family, 2 teenagers, a wife, and a dog?
As long as they can. Life happens. Teenagers are better than toddlers for this. They like to be left alone. In fact, let them at a computer and they won't bother you for hours.
Why are some feelings of discomfort, anxiety, sadness constantly there in the viscera? Aren't we filling our head with phenomena to avoid the feelings?
Some people do. When they have a feeling stuck in a particular place in the channels, the sense organs that senses the physical component of feelings is the yi. It's down here in the solar plexus. It's a bunch of neural tissue that surrounds the gut and is very sensitive to neurotransmitters in Western science. Generally, for the extended teaching on that, you want to attend the retreat working with feelings, which I tend to teach over Zoom, and I'll be doing it again. In fact, it should be on a sign-up. Some of these retreats, there should be sign-ups if you missed them and want to do them again next time. And we get enough people, we put it quick on the schedule.
Yeah, it was posted into comments once, but I'll post it again.
Which?
The schedule, so they can go find the sign-ups.
Yes, there should be sign-ups on the website. If there isn't a sign-up for something you want to sign up for, go into the forum and hold a discussion there about it, and we'll get a sign-up going. But in working with emotions, one of the things you do after you have stripped the emotion naked of its stories, and you use Trekchia to do that. So you can't do that retreat until you're pretty good at Trekchia. It's got prerequisites. But once you've stripped it naked, you feel the sensations in your body without naming them or doing anything about them. A lot of times, certain feelings are patterns stuck in your chakras. There is a Rushen. If you are particularly plagued by patterns stuck in your chakras, which is called the inner body Rushen. But to do that requires you having taken working with emotions, because it makes the feeling stronger for many people before it unravels where they're stuck. It's like it whistles a bit. Your best bet, if you want to do these practices, is to do this practice, because it's a prerequisite, having experience with this practice. The Rushens are used in Dzogchen when you get stuck on something. But we don't know what you're stuck on or how you're stuck until you've been doing this for a good while. Next.
Oh, I have one marked. How would you compare this to deity meditation? Does deity meditation bring you to the same outcome?
Yes, this is faster, if you can do it. It's archetype, not deity. They're not gods. They're archetypes in the universal unconscious, at least in the Mahanatara view. So If you have too much conscious resistance, to get this practice to work, then you do deity or tantra, working with symbols, of which archetype practices are one, first, and that leads you to this. It sneaks past your resistance in the conscious mind, going deep into the unconscious mind, where it bubbles up because it works with the universal dreamtime symbols, the symbols in the channels. It's very effective. Pick the one you can do. Not everyone can do Dzogchen. I mean, give it a try during the retreat. But if you find you like deity practice, see, I'm doing it too. If you like Tantra better, if it's easier, do Tantra. It may lead you back to this, since in the higher forms of Tantra, this is contained. It is in there, in the dissolution, in the completion stage of all your sadhanas. But please pick the practice you can do and like doing. That's what's important, because then you'll do it. And they only work if you do them. It's very simple. Next.
I have been practicing mindfulness for 6 years, and I have attended Vipassana retreats too. Can I alternate mindfulness with these teachings in my personal practice?
I don't know. I have never attended mindfulness practice retreats. I've heard of it. In Tibetan, mindfulness is not a practice. It's a tool you use in other practices to bring your attention back to the practice you're doing when you've wandered off in a fantasy. You use mindfulness as a tool to bring it back. However, some recent people have created a practice called mindfulness. I had a 1-week Vipassana retreat once back in my 20s, and that's all I know about it. So I can't really speak to those practices because I'm not familiar with them. However, this practice works best if you decide on one single thing. To decide on one point is the second vital point. So I won't say you can't do that, because I don't know enough about those other practices and how you would merge them. However, the instructions here in this practice is to just go for it. Next.
What do Tibetans say about when all 6 senses stop and then reactivate, like when we reboot a computer? It's like an event for me. After this event, I could understand teachings better.
What caused the event? Or what causes it if it's something that repeats? TIAs? Brain farts? Seizures?
They'll probably need time.
Okay, we just saw what's the relationship of Ngundro to Dzogchen. There isn't one really. Ngundro is necessary for Tantra. Rushen is Dzogchen's Ngundro, but you don't do it first. You do it in the middle. And it gets prescribed. You do this piece if you're stuck with that, or you do that piece if you're stuck with that. Dzogchen requires a teacher. So does Tantra. Sutrayana does not require a teacher. You can get it from books like Words of My Precious Teacher, which is one of the only Tibetan texts which doesn't require a lung or a tree. The whole text has been written unfolded. Tibetans never do that. But in Words of My Precious Teacher, they did. So it's almost impossible to teach it because it's all in there. There's nothing that needs explanation. The explanation's all in there. The only text I've ever seen that way. But that is Lam Rim, that is Sutrayana, that is the Four Noble Truths. Once you get into Tantra and Dzogchen, in Tantra you need a Lopan, a tantric master. In Dzogchen you need a Lama who is well trained in Dzogchen, which is not all Lamas that teach. Not everybody teaches Dzogchen. It's rare, actually. And then some people teach something they call Dzogchen, but they only teach the Rushens. They don't teach real Dzogchen, the meat, just the appetizer. And in my lineage, we don't do Rushen first. We do Rushen in the middle. Next.
Oh, I had it here. For the past 10 years or so, when I do mantra, a little circular motion seems to happen from the base of my spine and come upwards. Is that just spinal muscles releasing tension? Or is it like gex or lung? What is it?
I don't know. I would guess, I don't know, that it might be spinal muscles relieving tension. It does not sound like lung, and gex are much more emotional.
Okay. Define Rushin?
Separating. Winnowing, like when you beat on the grain and then toss it up in the air in the wind.
So the next question?
Yeah.
Is being startled when we say pet good? And what if we can't stop thinking about things when we say pet or feel some anxiety before we say it? Instead of...
Then don't say pet yet. Being startled is not bad, because you are supposed to sort of sneak up on yourself and do it. It has to be sudden. You can't be sitting there, I'm going to do a pay, I'm going to do a pay, because it won't work like that. So you do have to sneak up on yourself a little bit with it. But if you are caught in thoughts or anxiety, that's not the time to say pay. If pay makes you anxious, you're not quite yet to the point to utilize pay. You will be. Keep practicing without pay until you get a meditation. Then pop it while looking right at it. Next.
What differs people with to cause them to practice Dzogchen or Mahamudra?
Personality. People who like things in a temporal linear way, who like the first thing first and the second thing second and the third thing third, will often do better with Mahamudra as it is set up to satisfy that need. Dzogchen starts in the middle. It ends in the middle. It doesn't have a beginning and an end stage. So if you like things temporally orderly, you might prefer Mahamudra. And if enough of you sign up requesting Mahamudra, I'll teach it over a weekend. When you are going into the swimming pool, how do you like to get in? Do you wade into the shallow end and splash yourself a bit and become acclimatized to the temperature of the water and get in that way? Or do you just walk out on the diving board and dive in head first and figure you'll get used to it once you're in it? The latter is Dzogchen. Next question.
Yeah. we may be running low on the questions.
Oh,
Let me check
good,
through.
because we're quite after 1 o'clock.
Yes,
But I want to make sure everyone's satisfied before we go on to SOPA. You just have the easy parts. SOPA's harder to understand, to follow, and to explain, and SOPA's tomorrow. So practice this as much as you can between now and then, so that you have a prayer of understanding what it is, and of transcending your understanding and actually experiencing it. Anyway, do we have any more questions?
going on the chat. Sometimes on dissolving the bindu, there is a second of loss of consciousness. Is
What
this
bindu?
Tawa? The bindu, I don't know either. That's
I don't know
the word
what
in
you
here.
mean by the bindu. It's a Sanskrit word. I mean, bindu is something that you put with red lipstick in between your eyes as a decoration, or you get sticky on ones with jewels on them. But I don't think that's what you mean. So give me an explanation and I'll come back to you.
And the person who had the senses sort of reboot replied, where is her answer? That it happens when she practices vipassana. That was the first time it happened, and it happens as she falls asleep. And, oh yeah.
I don't know. I have not had that experience or previously heard of that experience, which makes it rather hard for me to answer questions about it. When the tigli dissolves, under what circumstances are you dissolving a tigli? Again, I want more answers before I can address that.
That a bindu is a tigli.
Yeah, so
Yes.
under what circumstances are you dissolving tigli? Here we go.
The Hri, you dissolve the
Oh, okay. So we're talking about in tantric sadhana, when you dissolve the seed syllable into a point and the point dissolves. And yes, that can be called a tigli in that context. Now, what was that original question, now that I finally got the context?
Let me come back to it.
What happens when the bindu dissolves?
Yeah, that was...
Tawa is what happens when the bindu dissolves, if you're doing it right. Chuku. It's not that it happens. It's that your attention is led by the dissolution of that bindu, that tigli, the seed syllable, into tawa, no thing, etewa. You can get there in a tantric sadhana. This is dissolution phase. This is completion phase, which is done in all tantric sadhanas, just before the end. Anything else?
Don't think so. Let me give the chat one more look. And no new questions.
We're good then. Yawn Nyor Duda Chik Chik Sala Gopashu. May all beings recognize their own true nature. Done for today. I'll see you all tomorrow.
have to hit the